Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Barre Beat Podcast, live 185 North Main Street, the 802 Scoop. And with us tonight, we've got Raylene, who is not particularly happy.
No, my coffee's over there.
Oh, are you going to be okay without it?
Probably not. I'm probably going to take my mic off and go get it in a minute because I won't make it through a whole show without it. Are you kidding me?
Are you gonna be like Miss Attitude without it?
I'm always Miss Attitude. I won't be Miss Attitude if I have it.
Do you want me to give it to you? You can go get it right now. You want to go get it right now?
Oh, I have your permission?
Yeah.
Do you really think I needed that?
Clearly, she didn't have to have my permission.
You think this is your show or something?
Wow. Ouch. That's a little harsh. Anyway, so thank you everybody for watching tonight. We don't have any special guests, so we're just going over the city council packet. We'll touch on the school packet as well. And of course, we will also probably give you guys some beautiful little pictures of. She can't find her coffee. This is going to be a problem for her. No, I didn't hide your coffee. This is Barre Beat. We do not have formal stuff going on here.
I'm back.
You're back. Well, welcome back, Raylene. You got your coffee. Show everybody your coffee.
I ditched the mic for 2 seconds.
It wasn't 2 seconds. Good evening, Joe.
Good gracious Lord.
So we can just jump right in on the city council packet.
Yeah, why not?
But before we do that, we should probably talk about the wastewater treatment plant bond that's going to be coming up. Mm-hmm. So,
because that's frightening to a lot of people. It's
correct.
Big numbers right there.
It is. It absolutely is. It's going to impact not taxes, but your water rates, right? That's what it's going to do, and that's for all the users of the water system. The annual loan payments based on a 30-year loan will be approximately $268,000. A portion of this loan will be paid by the town of Barre. The debt retirement for the proposed wastewater project will be paid by sewer system customers only. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely a pretty large bond amount. And,
right, and even though it's not a tax, it's still an increase in a bill that right now with all the increases, it's just another kick. But this is something that really has to get done. I mean, this isn't something that can really be kicking the can any further than maybe it's already been kicked. Right. And we know that from discussion at City Council last week that a lot of the problem that they're having right now is with the flushable wipes that are not flushable, and it's causing problems, and they really need this new upgrade to help fix all of these issues.
Yeah,
it's shitty.
It's
a shitty situation.
It definitely
at the sewer department.
It definitely is. It's very unfortunate, and I was going to go try to find out what the bond amount total is.
And this is money that you have that has to be spent, though. I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's definitely money that's going to need to be spent, and the problem can only get worse if not taken care of. So, could it really, in the end, cost even more if it got kicked down the road a little further?
Absolutely. And
So,
I can tell you the amount that, or I'll just read the wording on the ballot. Shall the general obligation bonds or notes of the city of Barre in an amount not to exceed $7,600,000 be issued to pay the cost of replacing the headworks at the city's wastewater treatment facility, a project having an estimated total cost of $9,297,000.
frightening.
It
Absolutely
is. It's definitely. It's very frightening. The price, and I understand. Folks will look at that and they'll be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And it's it's something that has to be done.
right, and it is across the board. It's anybody that uses the service will be paying. It's not solely put on the heads of or the shoulders of Barre City taxpayers.
Correct. And just going to show a picture of it. This is the headworks. If you haven't had an opportunity to go down to the wastewater treatment facility, I highly recommend it. And I'm
Yeah, it's
I'm
actually
pretty
interesting.
It is. I mean, it smells like
We did last year. It smells like shit.
Well, it's funny. You had yesterday, right? You had yesterday the Nichols?
Yes.
Nichols.
Yep, Brian.
Yep. And Brian used to work for the wastewater treatment center.
Yes, he did.
And I said that. And Joe says it's a situation.
Yeah, shitty situation.
But before the show started, he told me that he worked for the city at the wastewater treatment center, and I looked at Tracy and I said, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Because the fact is that with that it's everybody remembers working at like Burger King or McDonald's except for Kamala Harris.
Right. You bring the smell comes home
Correct.
with you no matter
It
what.
does.
Yeah.
It comes.
Whether you're a farmer,
Yeah.
you work at a shit treatment
Yep.
plant, or you drive one of the septic tank trucks, or you drive around
Yeah.
and empty portalets, same thing. You either smell
Yeah.
like gross old grease or
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it was funny because he's like, there would be some nights I'd come home and the dog didn't even want to see me.
Well,
But yeah, that's a pretty rough treatment plant. It does. I mean, I've only been there probably twice. I've gone through 2 different walkthroughs, and I mean it's wastewater treatment. It's what you expect to smell when you go up to the treatment center in Orange. You come out smelling like chlorine. It's amazing.
right, it's water.
I love
Right,
it.
Exactly. Total different circumstance.
Yeah. So in starting in 2026 to only pay the debt retirement, the increase in sewer rates is projected for a low flow customer about $3.72 per quarter. So for a low flow, and for an average flow customer, about $12.96 per customer.
Per quarter or per year?
Per quarter. Per quarter.
Yep.
So it's obviously more money, but like I said, you
as
kind of got to do
more
it.
properties get built, the grand list builds, things like that.
That's true.
It'll decrease because
That's true. When you
you
spread
have
it
more
amongst,
people paying in,
yeah,
and
that's
so
valid.
we
That's
have
valid.
with it's still not going to change it a ton, but it will help. And there are things like that happening in the city right now where we're trying. There's growth that's trying to happen, and so the potential for that not to. And let's face it, when things go up, they don't usually go back down.
Right.
This may go down a little bit for a little while, but eventually you'll be right where you are right now, because it just doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. Expenses for everything change.
Yeah, if we had additional customers, you're saying that it would go down.
At first, maybe, but then
maybe.
it's being used a little more.
Yeah.
Even. So, I'm just saying more people are paying into that water and sewer
Yeah.
bill. And so maybe it'll mean that your rates stay the same for a little while because more people jump on, so there's not another increase needed, or, it's helpful that we're going to have people jumping on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't, because it's manually adjusted by the city. So there's.
But this is a payment. So if there's more
correct.
people paying in to
Correct.
pay off,
Correct.
then maybe there wouldn't be another increase right away that was as significant or something, because that's been able to be paid down a little bit.
Right. But the way that they run the water rates, city council will vote on a specific rate, and once they go up that rate, even if there was more people
Right, going backward.
Yeah,
They
I don't
don't.
think. Yeah.
Right. They won't necessarily go backwards, is what I'm saying,
Oh,
but because that
maybe
never
they-
happens. That doesn't
okay.
really happen, but maybe they wouldn't need another increase as
Okay.
soon because more people are paying in.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
I think would happen. It's logical, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Logic.
Logic
and government.
doesn't necessarily
no.
always work.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a few committee appointments coming up.
I see that.
We've got cow pasture, transportation transportation and public works committee, homelessness task force, and Central Vermont solid waste management district. So for the cow pasture stewardship, it's Greg Rulo for a 2-year term. For the transportation public works committee, it's going to be Kenneth Bauer, who I believe is Jamie Bauer's. Is she on the planning commission? No, Jamie Bauer's not on the planning commission. Maybe she's on DRB. I can't remember.
Yeah,
But and maybe I'm thinking of somebody completely different. And then there's Kathy Partlow, who's going on the homelessness task force, and Amy Galford, which I'm actually pretty excited about that.
Me too. I wish she could be on every committee. Not gonna lie. That is one woman who just knows her stuff. I never tune out when she's talking.
Yeah.
I always learn something when she's talking. She's extremely thoughtful, respectful. She really looks into things. She just doesn't shoot from the hip at all.
No.
And I wish we need one of Amy on every single committee there is.
I was actually talking to Judy Copping, and I said, "Can we convince Amy to run for city council?"
Oh, that would be amazing. That would
would
just
be.
amazing.
It would be.
We need her. And I love how involved that she stays and tunes in, and she's a huge asset for sure.
So she'll be on the Central Vermont Solid Waste Management District as the representative, and then Peter Anthony will be the alternate.
Oh, good.
So the other thing that they're going to be talking about is finalizing the river project list, which people really should take a look at, because there's some stuff on there.
Yeah. Now, does this include the trestle?
It includes the trestle. The one right at the top, though, is the removal of the Berlin Bridge.
Which I just think is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. It is crazy, and I think it's a safety risk to take that out. The street that goes up by Denty's, I always forget what that street is called, that goes out to McLeod's. Blackwell. So you go out Blackwell, and then you would turn onto Smith Street to get Berlin. That street, super narrow, horrible kept, because they put that whole huge big bike path in there. So now we have maybe going all the way up to the 4-way by the old Mr. Z's, Denty Park, and taking a right hanging right onto the belt line. So if there's an emergency on the belt line or at Highgate Apartments or Countryway or something, how many more minutes does it take to go all the way to the four-way, all the way back the opposite direction, and then up the hill and try to get through that four-way intersection or maneuver those little streets? I just think, I don't know. I'm really, really, I don't understand what in God's name anybody would think that would be a good idea for. Elevate the bridge if you need to. Put a
Well, you
hump in
can't.
the middle. You can't
You
put a
can't.
hump in the middle.
Well, you
can't
could
do
probably put a
anything.
hump. You could put a little bit of a hump
You
in the
could
middle.
elevate it. There are.
well,
you
you
could
can't
put
elevate it, though.
trash racks before or at, before
Oh,
it somewhere.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
there's got to be something they can do to keep the bridge.
you can't elevate it because the railroad is right next to it, so you can't do anything. The railroad, back in the day when we gave the railroad all sorts of power, there was, it's what we did, and now they have they are more powerful than municipalities.
Well, I know that part, but what about the railroad prohibits you from elevating it?
Because the likelihood of you getting permission to modify that section there,
It doesn't. It doesn't go across the bridge.
it doesn't go across the bridge, but it's so close to the bridge, but you can't raise it up without modifying the tracks, because the tracks are right on
So
the
you
edge
can't even
there.
elevate it. You couldn't put a hump in the middle or anything.
Well, I don't know if you could put a hump in the middle, but I think they're looking. I don't know if they're looking into the idea of putting a hump in the middle. I'll tell you my answer.
Even if the hump was longer and it,
Yeah.
went down onto Berlin Street
wanna-
behind the tracks.
You want to guess what my answer to this is?
What?
Just want to take a guess.
Dredge the river.
Dredge the river.
Right. Dig the right, exactly. Dredge the river and leave the bridge alone. It just it
Yes.
doesn't make a lot of safety sense to me at all.
Yeah.
I that would just concern me. I mean, I don't live on Berlin Street anymore, but that's where I grew up, and I can't imagine. Some 5 minutes is a lot when you're talking about flames.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Or a car accident or anything. 5 minutes is a lot.
Ed agrees. Yeah, it definitely. So that's one of the things they're talking about. Removing the trestle bridge, which obviously that's like a no-brainer. Just remove that. It's not being used unless you're walking across it as a kid, trying to be cool, which I've done in the past. Did you ever walk the trestles?
No.
Oh, are you afraid of heights?
Yes, very much so. So at the bottom of Prospect Street by Gusto's,
Yep.
way back when it was called Gus's, the bridge that was there was one of those metal ones with it was like the great ones that you could see down.
Yeah, I remember.
So I had to walk back and forth to school, and I think the one on Berlin Street was the same way, but I'm not 100% positive.
Not Berlin, on Blackwell.
Blackwell?
Blackwell. Yep, Blackwell.
So,
Pretty sure it was.
but I would stop. I would not go across that bridge until somebody could walk with me, and I was terrified to do it. I hated it. When they made that just a paved bridge they couldn't see through, wonderful thing. But yeah, I did not like that at all.
I can get that. I'm partially afraid of heights. I was way more afraid of heights when I was a kid. For those that remember North Berry School, did you ever go to North Berry School?
I did.
You did.
Yeah, only
So-
for fifth grade.
Only for fifth grade?
We went 1 through 4 at Ward 5.
Who did you
or
have?
K through 4 at Ward 5.
Who'd you have?
At North Berry, I had Mr. Taffel.
Yeah, Mr.
Not Mr. Taffel. Oh my God! Now I can't
Mrs.
think
Goodyear?
of his name. No,
Oh.
it was a guy.
Bryant?
For fifth grade.
There was no guy when I was
Yes,
there.
there
That must have been way before.
We've had this discussion before, ass. God. The teachers I had retired before you got to school. Michael.
Clearly.
Yeah. No, Mr. Taffel was our principal at Ward 5, I think. Or maybe at Northbury. One or the other.
Northbury.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you remember The Office.
Yes,
So
of course.
so the way that school was set up was that the stairs go up and you could see all the way down if you look down the banister. So I was terrified of heights. So if I had to go to the second floor, I had to go like all the way to
the other side
where you couldn't see. But the third floor,
It
the
didn't
staircase, it didn't
Yeah,
matter
it
because
didn't
it was.
matter. Yep.
So when I had to go to the principal's office, I literally went tushy up first, like each step, one step at a time. On sitting up, sitting down, I could not. I
yeah.
was so terrified.
Yeah, it was
It's kind of
scary,
embarrassing
though.
now
It
that
was
I think about
scary.
it. Good evening, Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrifying. I could tell you lots of stories about
But
that school.
yeah, and I mean those bridges rocked and moved and everything else too. I did not like them at all. So I'm glad that that's done. And I hope with this bridge that's what they'll do. They'll dredge. They'll find another way, a solution around trash racks, changing the flow of water or giving at least watershed area that down in that location somewhere, something.
Yeah.
But to just take that bridge out seems absolutely insane to me.
Yeah, hopefully we
and
don't.
As does ripping out all of the money that was just spent on Smith Street that never gets used for this like outrageous, really car wide bike path
Yeah.
that never gets used. And there was so much money put into that. And so to have it all dug up and just to make Smith Street more accessible for fire and rescue, it seems insane.
Yep. And then of course there's the hydrology and hydraulic study, which is
Is this
something.
when they're going to go in the tunnels?
No,
Okay.
no, but I've heard that that's going to happen.
It is going to happen. I saw that on a council meeting.
Yeah.
I heard that that was going to happen. But I know that they had to have special certifications. They had to have certain things done to be able to do such a thing.
Yeah, because I
Confined
was talking
spaces
to, I think it was Jeff Blow, and he said he remembered walking the tunnels underneath. That would be pretty awesome to see. But now, of course, the sedimentation has built
A
up.
lot of the basements still connect. I can tell you, when I worked at Aubuchon's, when it was over here on the corner, when I was a teenager, way back probably before you were born, Michael, I
doubt
could
it,
walk from...
You're like 6 years older than me. That's it.
I know, but you're the one that's always
I know.
making it sound like I'm so much older than you.
I know, but
I
it
could
is
probably
kinda fun.
walk from there all the way down to Asian Gourmet underground, in between the basements. And some rooms were like way smaller. You had to duck down, and then you would get back to normal size. And it's a little bit creepy down there underneath. It's very creepy in this cellar. This cellar's the same way. It's humongous. And what we found after the floods of last year, we found on this whole wall, there's windows in the basement. So obviously, that side of the building was exposed. It was not always buried in there. There's windows down there, so obviously they wouldn't have had windows into the dirt. It must have been exposed to something. Another store, another basement, or a street for all we know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, there's definitely a little breezeway there. It's about, 5 feet wide?
Right.
It's all blocked in.
It's all blocked in. And it's all filled in. It's level with the sidewalk, but down in the basement, there's huge, beautiful windows that nobody knew were down there, or at least this owner didn't know they were down there until the flood came and all of the work was being done, and they discovered those windows.
It would be really cool to like get into a time machine and just come back to Barre and just walk the streets back in like 1900.
Well, Jen gave me some really cool books that go with this building and, well, with the whole North Main Street, but marked the pages that go with this building that tell kind of like that long history. And it's pretty cool.
There's quite a few. I have almost every single one of Barry's historical books.
And Belding,
oh yeah, Russell Belding
Russell
has.
wrote the one I have.
Yep, that's the big thick one.
Yep.
From trolley. Well, there's
There's
two.
two
There's
of
gas
them. Yep.
gas pumps to traffic lights, and then trolleys something.
And that's, I think I have the trolleys one.
Yep.
But yeah, he and
Well, his mother used to be too. His mother used to do
like a
historical
historian.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to camp with him, and I mean, I could listen to him talk all day. When you talk about stuff like that, it just amazes me.
Ding. I wonder if he would come on the show.
Well, we should ask him sometimes because he's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
and his wife knows a lot too, and I don't know if it's because
Yeah.
she's as interested or if Russell just rubbed off on her. I should ask her some night.
you should.
Yeah.
You should.
But yeah, pretty cool.
So there's that. That's the and folks can find that in the packet. The all the different things. There's a lot about the buyouts in there. It's a pretty comprehensive list of things. Roland asked me to tell you both. He said hi. Why, hello,
Hi.
Roland. So we were talking about creepy basements.
Right, we could have Roland come
That's
do
true.
a little Ghostbuster thing here and tell us what the hell.
That's true. I talked to him last night. Him and Kristen. And he was talking about the state
Waterbury?
house. Yeah.
We well because we want to go to the old Waterbury State Hospital, and I've asked permission to get into the tunnels, and then of course questions were asked back, and questions were answered back, and questions were asked back. So hopefully, eventually that would be a thing. I've been in them myself, so. And they're pretty damn cool, and I have a couple of pretty good damn stories too. So, which I've shared with Roland, and now he wants to go even more than he wanted to go before. But if we can't go there, we're gonna go somewhere else. Though we're gonna find something. We're gonna find some creepy place to ghost bust together. We're gonna make you go. And he even said he'd wear pants.
I'm glad because that is a concern. There's like bunch of people out there.
So there are.
Yeah. Just like roaming back and forth in front of the window.
I don't like it when you tell me that stuff and I'm sitting with my back to the window. Like I'm the one sitting with my back to the window and you're telling me what's going on behind me. Great. Thanks, Michael. I wasn't nervous
I'm sorry.
beforehand.
Now I feel bad. I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
I do feel bad. I feel bad about that.
Moving on.
All right. Roland says yay, and Michael is going even if he cries in the corner. That's not going to happen because I'm not a believer in ghosts. Anyway, so we have the packet includes seeking approval to build a roof over the sludge container down there at the wastewater treatment center. So once you take all that poop and you mix it all up and push lots of water into the poop and it starts settling down to the bottom, you end up with the sludge, the poop that doesn't get, corn,
Right.
tomato seeds, all that stuff that doesn't get filtered out, right? And so that gets scooped up. It's condensed out. I think it's condenses. They take out to where it's 7% water, and then they put it in this big holding bin, where it just sits there until we ship it up into Canada, where they do whatever they do with our shit.
With leachate.
I don't know what they do with it.
It's called leachate.
Oh, but so anyway, there's no roof on there, so when it rains, it gets on the poop, and it just
Prolongs the process.
Well,
and it makes
no.
it stinky again and all that good
oh
stuff.
well that's possible, but it's more about the fact that it absorbs the water, and it goes from 7% to 9% water, and they want to put the roof on it so that the water doesn't come in, and we're not paying more to transport because I
Right.
think it'll save us $400,000 if we pay for we pay. The roof will help us save on the $400,000 the city pays for sludge removal.
Perfect.
So lots of fun, lots of fun. Everybody loves talking about poop, huh?
Of
Should we
course.
move on from
Yes,
that?
that would be great.
Should we? Should we
Yeah.
move on? We could talk. So the hydrology study, that's on there as well. It's for tomorrow night. They're going to be approving the increase because originally it was 80,000. The scope of work has increased, so it's going to be $165,000.
Double. A little more than double.
Yeah, yep. And
Oh, boy.
it's the River Scientist Partners will be present to discuss the challenges of splitting the cost of the study with neighboring communities. So we might just have to go it alone, which is kind of sad. And there's also going to be an update on the headworks. So if you want to learn more about that bond, that's coming up on November 5th. Tune in.
So you'll hopefully know more about this than I do and
I
have
probably
a better understanding of this. So does the 1% tax that we have here in the city now, does that help with any of this stuff at all? Isn't that what that's kind of for? Is
Capital improvements.
And would this be considered capital improvement?
Um,
The roof over so that we're not paying out more money to do this, that, and the other thing?
feel like the charter may have said that it was specific to roads and streets. But I might be wrong on that, and we might have added in capital improvements. When I say we, it wasn't me, because I voted no on that, contrary to some people's belief.
You voted on no to the 1%.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very
I was-
surprised.
I
I
was,
think that everybody should vote yes to that. And
Oh.
here's why. Because,
okay.
like the town of Berlin, for instance, when I lived there, and you think about what services are utilized in the town of Berlin that only Berlin people are paying for, but people from all over use, right? It's the same thing for here. When you think about the local hardware and you think about things that we have local, that the auditorium, like all kinds of places and things here in the city that other places don't have. That's why people come here. So why take the burden all by yourself when you can spread it out to other people?
So, and I get that. So let me explain my reasoning for voting no. So we attempted to pass it back in like 2016, I think. Ward 2 said no. No. And I had supported
Well,
it
because
then.
it's called a tax,
Well,
first of all.
maybe. I mean, I can't tell the,
It's not clearly defined.
Well,
or
it wasn't.
explained.
It was a little confusing the last time, but the local options tax, we put it through, and that time I did vote for it, and then Ward 2 said absolutely not. So it went back again. So it failed, and then we tried to push it again. And at that time, when the second vote came, I said no, because I said Ward 2 clearly said no. And then the third time came around.
You mean you voted with your constituents?
Correct.
No.
I know, right?
You son of a gun, you.
So then the third
Why
time.
do shit like that?
I know, right? The third time came around, and it was still the same answer because Ward 2 had voted no again. But alas, Ward 2 voted yes on the last
And
vote.
you voted
And
no.
I had voted no.
They
Oh well,
gotcha.
I tried my best.
Yeah,
You know,
and
I
that's
tried
all
my
you
best.
can do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I did look it up. So the local options meals alcoholic beverage options tax, it says the charter language is local option taxes are authorized under this section for the purpose of affording the city an alternate method of raising municipal revenues. The city council may assess sales, rooms, meals, and alcohol taxes of 1%. Any tax imposed under the authority of this section shall be collected and administered by the Department of Taxes. And the reason why they do that is because the city could take that on.
Right, but they're not a bank. They're
We're-
not the
right. It's just much easier for the tax department to take it. And then the last part of that or that charter says revenues received through tax imposed under this section shall be designated solely for street and sidewalk construction, capital equipment, and capital improvement needs under 406 of this charter. So I
it
would
could
have
be
to,
a capital improvement need.
it could be. I'd have to look. Now I have to go look at.
So interesting. We'll have to pick their brain about that a little more.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I think it's authorized to come out of the ARPA funds. So I think that's already taken care of. Let me just double check that. But I'm
But if
pretty
we could
sure.
use ARPA
Yep.
funds for something else because we can use this money for that, then just saying.
Valid.
Sometimes
There's so
you just
many,
gotta shuffle.
but there's so much that needs to be done in the city
Right.
that
That
it doesn't. It's like
exactly. So if you can get a little bit somewhere where you could use something else, then
yeah, true.
you know.
Good
Just
point.
saying.
Nicholas says use it from the ARPA, so I'd probably just say
There was, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to watch the Planning Commission meeting yet or not on YouTube.
no.
But if you watch that meeting, you'll see that the solar company wants to put an array up on Allen Street, which is just past the
It's right behind the C building.
right behind the C building and up a little bit.
Yep.
So they would like to do that, and they're offering the city $20,000. Not a huge amount of money, but any money is a lot right now, especially. And they weren't looking for ideas. As a matter of fact, one of the commissioners didn't think that we should weigh in on it. But you know, I am the way I am, so I was saying what I thought, and we know that. There's a little building, a historical building over by Capital Candy. And the owners of Capital Candy would like to tear it down. It's not used. They feel it is a safety hazard. They could certainly make more room for their delivery trucks, whatever, if it was gone. But they cannot get the permission to tear that down because it's so historical and it's the last of its kind. And so
That's a circle building,
right. And they've talked about moving it, but then there's the expense of moving it and who wants to move it. And the Granite Museum said, sure, you know, we maybe would like to have the building, but we're not, you know, we can't pay to move it. So I say we take that $20,000 and move that building down to the Granite Museum.
Yeah.
That's what I think we should do. If everybody really wants to save that building and it means that much to so many people, instead of having it sit up here and just rot into the ground, what a shame that would be. Or, you know, just give them the $20,000 and get it moved, get it secured, and maybe make it part of the museum so people can enjoy it. That's what I think should happen.
I don't know, because it's pretty tough to move buildings.
But I believe he said Messier had looked at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the guys that
did
came
they say
before
how much it would
council.
cost?
I don't know that they gave a price, but you know, that I'm sure that 20,000, it's not that far from one place to the other, would maybe go far. Maybe some people in the city would have to volunteer some time or some help or something, but
Yeah, I don't think. I'm just looking
never
at
know.
that size of that building. I don't know if they'd be able to move that without taking it down completely.
oh, they do that anyway with a lot of them. But I don't think that he said would have to take it down in order to move it. Maybe he splits. I've seen him split them in half. He's a pretty incredible guy.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be able to save historical structures.
Right, but if people really want that, then let's start fundraising. Let's maybe use this 20 grand. Let's do what we can to get it moved then and saved instead of letting it. Let's not fight about it and let it rot into the ground even worse than it already is. Let's do something about it.
I'll be very honest in this. I think that if I was going to put any energy into something like that, my first attack would be the Baptist Church, the Italian Baptist Church.
Oh, yes.
You know, and it's interesting because I'm like betwixt
Right
on
on the
this,
corner
right?
of Brook Street,
Correct.
so it's between Brook Street and Beverage Baron.
Right. The building is not in good, you know, it's
No.
not helpful for the person that owns the property, and you know, I think there's a demolition permit eventually coming, and it's like it's that person's property. Should they be able to do what they want to do with their property? And it's the same thing with this building. You know, it's I again, I would feel, I mean, I guess I would have more like interest in saving the Italian Baptist Church
Than you would the little
than I
building.
would the little building at you know,
Yeah.
George's or at
Capital Candy.
Capital Candy. But you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. We'll see.
So we'll see. Yep. Then of course the warming shelter. So Tess Taylor, she's working with
Bible Baptist Church.
no
No?
No.
Because they're going to do one as well.
Bible Baptist churches.
Not Bible Baptist. No. The one, what is the one up here? Sorry.
Good Shepherd.
Good Shepherd.
So that's who she's working
Yeah,
with.
Good
She's
Shepherd.
working with the Good
That's right.
Shepherd or the Good Shepherd of. I've forgotten what it was. It
I
was
do
like
too.
the Good Shepherd of something.
But yes, that's who she. That's where it's going to be. Those are some of the ladies that I spoke with.
See if I
Yeah.
can find
So
it.
it'll be open earlier in the morning because the library doesn't open until later. So they
Correct.
will take the early morning hours, and then the library will pick up where they are
Yep.
not. And
It's-
I think they're open an extra day or two more than the library.
So they are going to be open from 7 to, will be open 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. And it's the Church of the Good Shepherd at 39 Washington Street.
Yes.
The warming center will offer coffee, muffins, and it will be a quiet space for phone chargers, laptops, and computers and support.
I hope
They've
that for them.
they've identified an additional an individual to staff it, and it looks like they're going to be administering trainings and administering Narcan.
Yep. They have, yep.
And the money that it's going to be $6,000 that's allocated from the city that was put into the budget, if I recall.
And I met with one of the people involved in this, and this is what we talked about, is that they would need to get trained. These are the things that I felt for them. They would need to get trained in Narcan. They would need to know that when the shelter closed, they needed 30 minutes to be able to go in, someone well aware with gloves, mask, to clean the bathroom. The trash can would need to immediately be emptied. And I'm not saying this has to do everything to do with drugs. Absolutely 100%. We're seeing it constant everywhere. And you just have to be cautious. People who work in the stores and stuff now, who, the Quick Stops and the Cumberland Farms and all of those places, same thing. They have to be very well trained and prepared to clean a bathroom now. It has to be done with extreme care and caution, because you can be subjected to many things, including diseases that are transmitted by needles. So I told them that I felt that they needed to do that, get a training there. They also needed to be trained in how to administer Narcan. They needed to have Narcan. And there's such a stigma and a controversy about Narcan. So
I don't
can we
understand
talk about
that.
it for a second?
Yeah, I don't
So-
understand why there's a stigma though, because
because people look at it as a free drug, and this is what I hear all the time. Why can you get Narcan for free, but you can't get insulin for free? Okay, so here's why. Narcan and getting the paddles or getting oxygen that's life-saving. That's a life-saving device. Now, Suboxone or methadone, that's the equivalent of insulin. They
Yep.
don't give free of that stuff, and they don't give free insulin either. Yes, some of it is paid for by Medicaid because very few people have private insurances when they're taking these things. But a good share of insulin is also paid for by Medicaid or Medicare, depending on who is using it.
Yep.
Those are the two that's what is so different about it. They are truly two different things, very much. So if you were having a heart attack or getting into an ambulance and you need an IV or something, do you need the EMT to say to you first, I need $50?
Right.
And that's the same with the Narcan.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you $50 for me to save your life. Otherwise, sorry, sucker. I'm going back to the station. So
I will say the thing that I like about this proposal and this idea is that trained representatives from social services such as Capstone, Washington County Mental Health, Good Samaritan Haven,
Yeah.
and the state of Vermont are signing up to help guests connect with services.
Yeah.
Because that's, we talk about homelessness, and I get, people get annoyed with my comment, which is you stop the voucher program, period.
I
We
agree
can't
with
afford
that,
it.
too.
But if you want to tackle homelessness, you got to tackle the mental health issue, and you have to tackle the drug issue. If you don't tackle those two things, you're not going to be able to you're not going to reduce the homelessness
Correct,
problem.
especially when it comes to addiction. So you can stay in a hotel
And you can
on
shoot
that
up and
voucher
everything
program,
else.
and you can use all your other funds to put into your habit
Yep.
because your home is paid for. But if you could make a choice to have a roof over your head or continue and get some help for yourself or continue down this path. And that's not to say that that's the case for everyone, because it's certainly not. There's all kinds of people that are homeless because of circumstance, injury or loss of job or cancer patient and super sick and like literally have spent every dime they have just trying to save their loved one's life. Or there certainly are people and children that are homeless due to circumstance, but there are many more people by choice.
Yep. I agree. But I am very thankful that they're going to have that. So that's what's on the docket for City Council. Of course, this week we do have school board, which I know, right? It's like a
I didn't
double.
go to the last one.
You didn't? No.
No. I was out a week.
Yeah.
I seem to go to too many of those lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
that-
you got?
That being said, so we do have and I kind of wish we gotta reach out to Alice and let her
We
know
have
that
to
we're.
remember to call her and ask her. I know, and I should have today, but it's just one of those days.
Yeah, I completely forgot because we no longer have any guests coming in, so gotta.
Right? She should
We
totally come back so that we
Yes.
can have her here for the school
Yes.
board part, because I'm oblivious.
well,
I'm like everybody else. When you're talking about school board, this is what I hear. Womp, 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 womp. Yep.
when I talk about school board, you know what I hear?
Well, shit.
So there's going to be there's an executive session in the beginning of the meeting, which I'm not sure what that is. So Yeah.
So you don't know what it is?
The executive sessions now. I wouldn't be able to tell you anyway if I did.
No,
so,
but I'm saying, so you don't even know. Somebody has asked for an executive session, so you'll find out when you
I
get
think I
there.
know
So
what
like
it is.
one
I think I
person
know.
probably knows they've requested it, and they'll tell you all
Yeah,
when they get there. I'm
we'll
saying
have-
that so that you explain the process.
Yeah.
It's just like city council. There's findings, and then you
Right.
decide whether or
Right.
not you're going to go. Okay.
When in executive session, usually you don't get like a bunch of stuff ahead of time. And then, of course, we have the principal updates from each school. Then there's the ESSER funding going down through that. Superintendent goals are going to be talked about. We've got future for CVCC discussion. Now, that's going to be interesting. So for folks that don't know, unfortunately, the BUSD, Barre City and Barre, you know what? No, it was BUSD. So it was the CVCC, the Career Center, Central Vermont Career Center, used to be part of the BUUSD.
Right, now they're on their own.
And now they're on their own, and they're a county-wide entity. Unfortunately, that happened. I don't think we should have done that. I voted no on that.
Right.
And, because I like the idea of us having control. And unfortunately, now we don't.
And they wanted to expand up into Barrytown, correct?
Well, they were already expanded out there.
But they can't do. There's something going on with that whole thing.
Yeah,
they voted no.
Sue Ann asks about the buyouts.
So there's going to be special meetings about that soon.
Yes. So the buyout process is underway. And they're in the packet on that list, they do talk about several of the buyouts. 5, 12, 15 Scampini Square. There's on there that it does show where they are for risk reduction, how where it falls in the metric. Highly recommend taking a look at that.
And we can post it. We can post that.
Well, it's on Barre City. It's on the Barre City webpage.
Website. Okay.
So, and if
we
you're
can post it.
true,
And we can post
correct.
it.
And Raylene will post it
for you,
later. And if you wanted to be on the the boot and distribution list, you could always reach out to Raylene and she'll get your email address
and I'll
send
get you
it to
on
me.
there. Yeah.
Sure.
Sure, I will.
I'll make you do
I'll just
everything.
add it to the freaking list of things that Raylene will do.
So I think one of the discussion, the CVCC is going to be moving, right? And they're going to have to buy a huge facility because they need it. So the question is well, why can't we keep them somewhere at Spalding High School? Maybe, spend money on making that building bigger or better. So we'll see what happens with that discussion. It'll be unfortunate to lose them. I know that we were chatting about ideas on where to put it, and if anywhere you put it in the city, it's gonna eat away at our grand list, which is a huge problem, right? Because we're already eating away at our grand list with all the buyouts, and we have a lot of nonprofits in the city.
Right, and eating away at the grand list will affect your tax increases.
Correct.
Just like we were talking before, that hopefully building of these homes will increase housing, which will help, but
right.
One's got to happen before the other.
And
right. None of it's going to happen fast enough.
The thing that people don't, Barre City is 4 square miles. And we have the same, if not more, costs than communities that have like 30 miles, right? I don't know how many square miles are in the larger communities, right? But I mean, our costs, we have a full-time fire department. We have a full-time police department.
Which we need.
We need, right, correct. and that comes with a cost. But anyway, so we'll have that discussion. Then there's the request for proposal for an annual financial audit, and so not a lot of excitement going on the school board, which I kind of like.
Well,
I like
we have
no
enough
excitement.
going on here.
That's true.
So we only have a few more minutes.
We do.
Yeah. So it's like already 5 to 8.
See, we did it, and we're all
Right.
done.
And
We're all
and
done.
I don't think that we would. So, but this is Barry B, and we can be political, right?
Correct. Do you want to talk about? I don't know what you're going to talk about, and I'm a little afraid.
Oh my God, it's gonna be all right. I'm going to talk about. I have to be careful.
I'm
So-
really concerned now. Like
No.
the fact that you're like stammering on this makes me
I'm
concerned.
not really stammering. So it's been a very emotional day.
Yeah.
Emotional roller coaster of a day. It's been an emotional roller coaster of a couple of weeks. And the more and more and more that happens, the more death, the more this, the more that, the more I'm involved, the more I understand that we really need some changes here, big time, because it's not just people murdering people with guns out here it's a judicial system that is destroying families, that is so broken that the criminals have more rights than the victim and the family. And that, I feel like that it's more that now than ever. And to learn that, 21, almost 22 years ago now, I was charged with a crime. Almost everybody knows that because I talk about it. And charged with embezzlement. 3 to 10 year sentence, served all 3 years in prison because my crime was not offered good time. I spent the next 7 years on probation. I am a felon. I'll be a felon for the rest of my life. Some of that by choice, because I could ask the judge, as we've spoke about before, to maybe expunge that. But he doesn't have to. They can totally deny me. The governor could totally deny me. I have to beg for that. Because embezzlement falls under one of the 23 listed crimes. Did you know that an overdose with death resulting, or sale with death resulting, if somebody overdoses and dies and you are charged with the sale of a drug with death resulting, that is not a listed crime? Death resulting is in there, and that's not a listed crime. That means you're good for time, good time. You can get good time. Sure. You get a 3-year sentence, you get a 2-year sentence, and you only have to go half the time. And then you don't have to serve your entire probationary sentence either, because, as long as you're a good boy or girl, you can get time off that too. And you're going to get a review in a certain amount of time, and then they could possibly even let you go. Your felony can disappear right off your record because it's not a listed crime. Can go right off your record, no problem, after you've served your probationary sentence. Makes sense? What are we saving here? Are we really at a point in life where we say we can't hurt somebody's feelings so much that we're willing to let a family be broken because there can be no closure or no justice? Are we really that ridiculous that we can't hurt somebody's feelings, that we're not willing to force them to get help in some sort of way instead of sucking off a system constantly? Get your ass into treatment. Get yourself help. Do what you have to do, and be tougher on these crimes. The only way it's ever going to get out of here is if people understand that we don't tolerate it. And the only way we don't tolerate it is, I'm sorry, this is where I'm saying it. We vote red. Across the board, it's what we have to do. We have to have change. And what is in there right now is just not working. It's not working. Maybe you don't want to do that on a federal level. Maybe don't hate Donald Trump if you want. Hate Kamala if you want. Do whatever you want to do on a federal level. But in the state of Vermont, we seriously have to vote red. We have to have changes here. We may not be able to save the entire United States because, let's face it, little Vermont, our votes don't count that much when it comes to the whole presidential thing anyways. But they count here. They count here. And we have to do something. Because the shit that I'm seeing right now, it keeps me awake at night, for real. This is all 100% Maybelline, baby. And you can probably still see the black circles under there. I'm not kidding you. It's like I sleep maybe 2 hours a night because it's that much and it's that heavy. And only if everybody knew what was going on around here. And I wish they did. I wish I could just it all, but I can't.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can do is say that we got to help some way, and we got to do it fast because this is not good, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. We have criminals that we're charging from Springfield, Massachusetts, and we're saying, okay, we'll let you out of jail. You go back to Springfield and don't come back to Vermont ever again. Don't do that, okay? Are you shitting me? You know, and we don't, people don't, you don't even know their names. Their real names, probably. And it's not just out-of-staters. It's what's happening here. And we got to get it together. We got to cut this shit. And we got to stand up and say we're not going to tolerate it anymore. We have to be able to go before a legislature and say we want justice and say that we want this added as a listed crime. This is a violent crime. That's a violent crime. You know, I'm a listed crime.
No, I
didn't kill anybody. I hurt somebody really bad. You know, I took their money. I broke their trust. And I have spent the last 20-something years trying to make up for that. And I made amends with him before he died. And I'm glad I could. And I'm glad that he was accepting of that. But that's an effort I made on my part. And I think it's an effort that they should be forced to make. Just my opinion.
Well, I mean, you're not going to get any argument from me, and I'm sure that the majority of the viewers aren't going to argue with you on that as well. But, all right. Well, thank you, Raylene. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Barre Beat podcast live, 185 North Main Street, Barre, Vermont. Hope you all have a great evening, and
see you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
I will see everybody at 11 o'clock for It's No Secret.
It's No Secret, 11 o'clock
tomorrow,
with Raylene.
Diane from Circle is going to join me in the morning at 11 o'clock.
All right. Great. Good night, folks.